sorry, my speaker's not on. Enforcement strategies regarding the use of dangerous and illegal fireworks. We have Pete and Rob.
And Pete, before we start, you lost your first house. You lost your full house tonight. Remember last presentations you had?
I
full
was
house?
just going to say, Mayor Didball, members of the council, I was a little bit shocked because the police chief and I were talking. We thought for sure everyone was here for our presentation, but so I'm a little crushed, but we'll get through it. Okay, we'll be quick here. So we're here to talk to you about the 4th of July because it comes up every time this time of year. So here we are. So this is what we like to see. And Chief Landon and myself are here to talk a little bit about what the strategies are and tactics as we get closer to the 4th of July. So this is what we want our community, right? This is what I showed you. This we showed you last year. This is what we like in our community. This is what we like to see. This is what we don't want to see. We don't want to see dangerous and illegal fireworks because they cause harm and they burn things down. So just for a quick recap before we get into this stuff, what are illegal fireworks? It's really simple. Illegal fireworks are anything that goes up in the air or explodes. That's the bottom line. And if it doesn't have safe and sane on it, and it doesn't have a state fire marshal seal, it's not a legal firework. So it's either an illegal or dangerous firework. So our goal is to keep those out of this area and prevent some of the things that are occurring that have been occurring in the past in this community. So with that, I'm going to let Chief Landon jump into the ordinance, and then I'll come back and chat in a minute.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Enjoy speaking with the fire chief here and joining hands with this project. Again, last year we came before you to promote a social ordinance, and basically it gave us the opportunity to administer administrative citations and also to hold responsible parties responsible along with the person that is lighting off the fireworks. So it gave it a lot more ammunition. We passed ordinance 5602.2, and again, this is exactly what I just talked about, with the violations being $1,000, not to exceed $1,000. They were all $1,000 fines. That's what they were cited for. The results of the 2017 proactive enforcement, we issued 24 illegal fireworks citations. The revenues received covered the cost of additional proactive enforcements. And if I might just plug Rich Detmer for a second, he was the one that did administrative hearings. And we paid him a certain portion, and everything that we paid him, he donated back to the members of the fire department and police department who lost houses during the fire last year. So that was just something really neat. We responded to 231 calls for service for illegal fireworks during the July 1st through 4th period. 52 of the calls for service originated from our YC 311 system. 2018, some of the things that we've talked about doing and being more proactive even than last year. Number one, we're going to continue to increase our fire and police staffing between July 1st and July 4th between 7 p.m. and 2 a.m. Specific police units will be assigned to illegal fireworks enforcement. We learned last year, I think we probably should have known this, and especially you council members and law enforcement, that people do see us. We stand out in a marked unit. So we're going to have more unmarked unit this year than marked units. Additional dispatch personnel will be there to help handle the calls for service. Additional fire engine staffing to address the increased call volume, and also additional fire staffing to support the proactive enforcement. We are trying to partner up with Sutter County right now. Their staff has stated that they will be presenting a similar fireworks ordinance for the Board of Supervisors to consider. We've talked to them. We don't know where that is right now, but we have talked to them through the process and are more than willing to help them out with anything they need from us to get that going. The county staff has also suggested that they would like to join in the city's public awareness for the Safe and Sane or Feel the Pain campaign to ensure compliance. We also have reached out to them, and we will continue to reach out to have them do like they did last year, which is provide a deputy to help patrol the area that is currently under their law enforcement presence, but under the police or under the fire department's jurisdiction. It's you.
So one component was obviously the proactive enforcement that police and fire will be doing and with additional staffing and response. The other part of that is the public education part. So some of the things we're going to be doing this year is we'll be working at the summer stroll with the Youth Commission and sharing a booth with them, and as well as public safety personnel. We're going to have actual examples of illegal fireworks that we confiscated last year. We'll have them on board so people can see what they are, so they can recognize what are illegal fireworks. We'll have safe and sane public education material for the adults. We'll have public education material for the kids, and lots of handouts, safe and sane type of handouts, such as bags and brochures and other things, to try and really educate the public at the summer stroll what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and what's legal and what's illegal. We're going to work with professionally designed informational flyer to go along with other city materials. We'll be doing that this year. We have posters. I think we got like 500 posters still from last year. We'll be getting those out to all the businesses and fireworks booths. So I can guarantee all the fireworks booths will have posters in them, as well as a lot of the businesses. We'll ask a letter from the mayor so we can put that in the Peel Democrat about the ordinance. We'll be putting things in newspapers and magazines and radio announcements, and of course our water bill inserts. So we're going to try really hard to hit a lot of the social media aspects to make sure people really understand that that we will be citing people, and that we mean what we say when we say it. It's very important. I'll let Chief Landon talk about New Year's Eve.
Okay, trying to keep you guys going back and forth here. The question was posed about New Year's Eve, and we do understand that that is another time where we do have fireworks problems. But during that period of time, the police department is already at maximum enforcement. And what I mean by that basically is all our patrol cars and most of other cars are already occupied doing other events, and that most of that entails driving under the influence patrols. Last year, for instance, that should be 2016, we only had 7 calls for fireworks, illegal fireworks, from the 7 o'clock through 2 a.m. And 2017 had 16 total calls, even though we gave them a better avenue to call us, our citizens a better avenue to call us. All the calls are focused right around midnight, our busiest time. We have the most officers out there. And if we do, and we still may consider that depending on how our staffing is handled that night, we do understand that we are going to respond to those calls. And if we see anybody doing that, we're going to doing the illegal fireworks, we will cite them. We will not need additional funding for that. We may bring on a couple officers, and the time frame will be a lot shorter than the 7 to 2 a.m. ballpark. But again, we are more than at the council's discretion. We will definitely want to hear what your opinion is.
So for New Year's Eve, for the fire department perspective, we're going to go ahead and maintain normal staffing levels, but we'll evaluate the need as we get closer for additional engine companies. If we decide to put additional engine companies on, we'll just go ahead and absorb that in our current budget. So we won't be asking for any additional funds. Obviously our wildland threat, or hopefully our wildland threat during that time, will be greatly reduced because it'll be wintertime. So that takes away that component that we usually run into with grass fires threatening structures. And then usually, just because of the cold weather and the humidity and everything, doesn't mean we can't have structure fires due to fireworks, but the risk of that is greatly reduced. So, but we'll take a look at that and see what we need to do as far as staffing. Some of the other options for the 4th of July, obviously we're always working on enhancing our children's 4th of July parade. That's a big one for us. We know that the Yuba City Arts Council has discussed holding a community fireworks event on the 4th of July in Riverfront Park. To date, we're not aware if a final determination has been made to hold this event or not, or if they're going to plan on beginning of 2019. Once we receive additional information, we'll provide an update to the council. So I'll be happy, Chief Land and I can answer any questions if you like at this time. And we'll end it with a little video.
This 4th of July, make sure to stay away from illegal fireworks, or you could be charged up to $1,000 fine. With $1,000, you can send a child to summer camp for the entire
It's not
summer.
showing.
So remember,
So, Madam Mayor, I promise you in this next year we will fix the video.
We've had some challenges with that video.
with $1,000, you can send a child to summer camp for the entire summer. So remember,
Feel the
this 4th of
pain.
July, make sure to stay away from illegal fireworks, or you could be charged up to $1,000 fine. With $1,000, you can send a child to summer camp for the entire summer. So remember,
That never gets old. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Through
Yeah.
the mayor. All of a sudden, my mic got a little hot. You know, thank you for your efforts last year. The 1st through the 4th, I'd like to see that actually extended to the 5th. Apparently, our residents don't understand that the 4th of July is the day to celebrate. And they have extended this celebration, and it certainly depends on day of the week that the 4th falls on. But they do like to blow up neighborhoods over a period of time, and it does extend into the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Now, my wife's birthday is on the 8th of July, and she believes that those fireworks are for her, but it's just a carryover from the 4th of July. So I certainly would like to see some effort made even further into that. The time frame in which they blow up the neighborhoods probably is from what I see on the south end of Yuba City. The 4th of July, they start blowing it up. And this is another one of these oddities. They launch stuff into the air like mortars when it's still daylight. That baffles me. That just seems like a waste. But I think they also have a fear of the enforcement period that may be occurring. A lot of that carries off into 3 o'clock in the morning on the 5th. The other nights, it seems to be earlier in the evenings and kind of dissipates right around 11-ish, 12, something like that, from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. As soon as it gets dark, they like to torch them off. Then after that, again, I don't know if it's the beer or what goes on, but they continue to launch whatever they have left that they didn't get caught with by the police. So that's important to me, that we maybe look at an extended period of time, maybe even shorten up the hours so it's not so late on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but yet we can really pick up the enforcement on the other parts. I live a bottle rocket's distance away from the county all around me. I live in the city, obviously, but I have residents near me like Darren Gale, who lives back behind me, but he actually lives in the county. I have just across one set of homes, it's the county. And that's over towards Lindcrest School. I live at 1478 LeGrand Avenue, in case anybody wants to come by and have a cup of coffee with me one day. And then to the south of us, we have Southland Village area. And these are all county areas. They don't have an ordinance. It baffles me why they haven't stepped up, seen exactly the same problem. They've heard the complaints. They know the complaints, and how we can encourage them. So if there's any discussions that you're having moving forward in which they seem to want to hesitate, I'll be more than happy to point about 200 very angry city residents in their direction in one of their supervisors' meetings in which they may want to push forward an ordinance. The other issue that comes up, and I agree with you partly on New Year's Eve, but the one piece of enforcement that we need probably more focus on is the use of gunfire. Again, I have a business off of Spiva Avenue. We just put a new roof on it, and this year we ended up with 3 leaks on it. When the roofing guy went up there, it was due to penetration of 22 rounds that had gone into the roof from above. So they were shooting them into the air, they're falling onto the roof, and ruptured brand new roofing material. So it happens. I'd be more concerned about some type of public outreach regarding, continue to do outreach over illegal gunfire within the city in conjunction with the illegal fireworks during that period. Enforcement-wise, I would agree it's a pretty short period of time, though my dogs don't believe it's a short period of time because they go nuts for many hours after the fireworks go off. So, and I probably listen to them more than I listen to my own wife. So, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, points to bring up? Thank you. We'll go ahead and open it to the public if anybody has any comments or questions they would like to bring. No? Okay, we'll bring it back. And it looks like we have a recommendation.
Do you want me to make the recommendation, Madam Mayor?
Yeah. That's what we're waiting for.
I would authorize the financial director to record supplemental appropriation of $25,000 from unallocated funds to the accounts listed below for the 2018 illegal fireworks enforcement and educational campaign, and then also to recommend you try to implement some of the items, or at least all the items that Councilman Buckland has mentioned, and I saw you taking notes, so I think you're already going to be trying to do that. That's my recommendation.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.